Hello everybody and welcome to another League of Legends champion guide. Today's champ is Alistar, the Minotaur. Alistar is a melee support tank. He has a huge amount of stun and is great at jungling, roaming and ganking. First of all, let me explain his spells. His Q spell is Pulverize. Alistar smashes the ground, dealing magical damage to all enemy units around him, knocking them up and stunning them for 1.5 seconds. This is great for disabling enemies and can be combined with his W spell to easily get your team a kill. His W spell is Headbutt. Alistar ramps an enemy, dealing magical damage to him and knocking him back. While the enemy is in the air, he is stunned. With this spell you can save yourself and your teammates or knock an enemy into your team so you get an easy kill. Alistar's next spell is Triumphant. Alistar heals himself and all friendly units around him. Whenever an enemy unit in his range dies, the cooldown of the spell is reduced. His ultimate is called Unbreakable Will. Alistar removes all crowd control effects on himself, gets bonus attack damage, and all damage he takes is reduced by 75% for 6 seconds. Last but not least his passive. Its name is Trample. Upon using a spell, Alistar can move 3 units and deals magical damage to all units around him for 3 seconds. This is great for helping your team with some damage and farming. Okay, now let's go to the runes. My marks and seals give me instant armor, which is needed for jungling and surviving in some situations. The quintessences and glyphs give me instant ability power to do enough damage for jungling at the start. My masteries are 1, 13, 16. I won't go into detail here because I don't want this video to be too long. Now that we know the basics, let's go to some gameplay. This guide shows you how to do a jungling roaming Alistar in the early game. You can also go on the lane and support your lane partner with your massive CC. It's your choice. If you go jungling, your first items will be a clove armor and 5 heal pots. Your summoner spells will be Flash and Smite. Flash is great to get close enough to your enemy to hit your Q spell. First you skill your Q spell and start at the ghosts, so that you will be level 3 after you have done the blue buff and can start ganking immediately. Next, you will skill E to heal yourself up. On level 3, you will skill your Headbutt for ganks. After that, your main priority spells will be Q and then W. Okay, now let's go into detail about your item build. The first time you return to the base, you want to get boots, an amplifying tome and a mana crystal. The next time you go to the shop, you will buy boots of mobility and sheen. This improves your gank ability and damage, which is good for jungling. At this point of the game you have to decide whether you want to go for support or for ability power. If your team does almost no magical damage and you have some tanky champs, you will go for ability power. Otherwise you should go for support. If you want to support, your next items will be Shurelia's Reverie, Frozen Heart and Force of Nature. With those items you can tank even more and give your teammates a speed up to catch up with fleeing enemies. If you go for IP, your next item will be Kindle Gem, which gives you cooldown reduction and HP, which you will need with AP Alistar. Then go for Abaddon's Death Cap, with which you can burst down your squishy enemies easily. After that, you will get Lichbane for even more damage. All further items are situational. You can get, for example, Sonia's Hourglass or Abyssal's Scepter for more armor and magic resistance. With jungling Alistar you want to gank as soon and as often as possible in the early game. When you start ganking you need to go to the closest lane that needs your help. With your CC it should be easy to kill an enemy if your teammates have enough damage output. If a gank does not result in a kill but in the enemy retreating to the base, it is still a success since the enemy loses some farm and has a level disadvantage. If possible, let your teammates have the kill. With Alistar you do not need feed, but you want your teammates to get fed. As you could just see, Flash is great to get to an enemy to stun him for the first gank. Right usage of the spell will often result in your team getting a kill. When not killing the enemy, or if you gank a dual lane, often it's also a good trick to pretend to retreat and then come back for a few seconds. Many enemies will not expect you to do that and then die, especially if they use their escape spells to escape your first gank. Another important thing when doing jungle Alistar is that you always want some help at the red buff and give it to one of your teammates, otherwise you will spend a lot of time doing it and it won't help you as much as it helps a laner. see another successful gank using flash. One important trick every Alistar should know is that you can combine your W and your Q spell. You start with your W spell. As soon as Alistar starts moving towards the enemy, you have to press Q. That way, you do not knock the enemy away, but throw him up in place. This is almost the same effect that Malphite's ultimate is. Without using this trick, Alistar would have thrown Mordekaiser through the wall here. If you play Alistar, you can also use this combo to do massive burst and save your teammates. When it comes to team fights, you can easily initiate with flash and your Q spell, and then throw an enemy to your team. Always keep in mind never to throw the tank. If flash is not ready, you can also initiate with the W-Q combo. One mistake many Alistars make is that they hesitate too much with the W spell after doing their Q. Then they throw the enemy in the wrong direction. However, you do not need to hesitate, since 1.5 seconds are enough to get in position to knock the enemy where you want him to be. I unfortunately have no clip to show you this, but you get the idea. The last thing that I have to tell you is that if you play Alistar, you want there to be a lot of action in the game. There should be many ganks and fights, and you should try to end the game as soon as possible. That's the end of my guide. A huge shout out to Messen, who helped me a lot with the guide and sent me all his replays for this. I hope you liked this guide, check out my Akali guide too, and please support me by rating, commenting and subscribing. More guides are coming soon. Thanks for watching.